Now another example of this whole idea, this madness of making us all mujtahidun. Another example of this is that we can come along now and determine the prayer of the Prophet. You see, here's the way the Prophet ﷺ prayed, and this is what you should follow, right? Now there is a book out with deference, because I don't like to make fun of people, and I don't like, but this is important in terms of understanding. And I am only saying what I learned from my teachers. I am not making this assessment myself. The Prophet ﷺ prayed different ways. This is absolutely confirmed. He prayed different ways. Somebody will say, the Hanafi goes from the ears, Allahu Akbar, and then he goes under the navel, right? Now that was the days before people had big stomachs too, because the early people didn't have big stomach. Now it's hard to get under the navel for some people. But the point is that Abu Hanifa, now they say, Ya akhi, the hadith about praying under the navel is da'if. Da'afahu fulan ibn fulan. Well, who do you think Abu Hanifa was? Abu Hanifa lived with, first of all, he saw one of the Sahaba. But he lived with people who lived with the Sahaba. He lived with people who prayed with Ibn Mas'ud. He lived with people who prayed with Sayyidina Ali. You don't think they didn't know where to put their hands? I mean, I've been here a few days in Liverpool, and you can ask the people that have been spending time with me, does Hamza move his finger or not? Where does Hamza put his hands? And they'll tell you, because they've been with me a few days. You don't think the Imam didn't, and he wasn't concerned about that? I mean, seriously, use your brains. Now somebody comes 1400 years later and he's going to make the corrections about people who were living with tabi'een, who lived with the Sahaba, and not just tabi'een like the onion seller on the street corner, tabi'een who were ulama mujtahidun. I mean, they're not simple people that just, no. Imam Malik, he took from the most learned people of his age, Nafi', the freed slave of Ibn Umar, who by the consensus of the ulama followed the sunnah more strictly than anybody. He used to follow the sunnah so strictly that if he heard the Prophet walk down a certain street in Medina, he used to go to walk down that street. And somebody's going to say, Ya akhi, you can't cut your beard, you have to have a beard down to here. And Ibn Umar cut his beard to here. I mean, seriously, and Malik knew where Ibn Umar put his hands. Malik knew whether or not you could move your hand in the prayer, or whether it was still. And the same with Imam Shafi'i, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and Abu Hanifa. And I say, and the scholars that I have heard from say, that we trust the mistakes of those Imams better than the corrections of these people nowadays. I feel safer with Malik's mistakes than so-and-so's corrections today. Really. I feel safer because those people, first of all, had taqwa. Second of all of their food was halal. You can't get halal food anymore. It's all riba. There's an imam in Egypt that won't drink from the water pipes because it's made with haram money. He drinks from a well. And when people bring him a glass of water, he says, is it from the well or from the water pipes that the government put down? If they say it's from the water pipes, he says, no thank you. Where's that type of wara'? That's the wara' of the early Salaf community. So we have to understand who these people were. And we follow them. These are the Imams, and they're rightly guided. And their deen has been transmitted unbroken until this day. Now somebody comes along now in the 20th century Jahiliyyah and wants to tell me, no, we have to reform Islam. Islam doesn't need reformation. We're not Christians. They had their reformation because the first thing was wrong. And they based the reformation on the first thing, so the reformation was wrong. The first thing was right, so we don't need reform, we need tajdeed, renewal. And there's a difference between reform and renewal. And this is what we need. So we should understand this. So once you learn all these sciences, then you have to know usul, istinbat. Because the Qur'an talks, الَّذِينَ يَسْتَنْبِطُونَهُ مِنْهُ. The istinbat, the usul, is how they derive. Now Malik and Abu Hanifa and Shafi'i and Ahmad differ on their usul. And their usul is all rightly guided. And this is what we call mujtahid mutlaq. The absolute mujtahid is the one that can actually, he has his own usul. And he can derive hukm based on his usul. So from the usul of Imam Malik is Amal Ahl al-Madina. That's not an usul of Abu Hanifa except for very few things. From the usul of Imam al-Shafi'i radiallahu anhu is the preference of khabar ahad over action. So these are, we have to understand usul. And then you have to know the am, the khas, the muqayyid, the mutlaq. You have to know that al-khas yuqaddam ala al-am, that the specific injunction is over the general injunction, that the muqayyid yuqaddam ala al-mutlaq. You have to know what the al-mustal wal-mubayyan, ambiguous things and clarified things. You have to know nas al-kitab, wa zahir al-kitab, wa tanbih al-kitab, wa illat al-kitab. You have to know all of these things before you can start making ijtihadat. So it's a very high maqam, and all of us are welcome to it if we have the knowledge. Now I will tell you one thing, my own experience. When I was in Mauritania, I got a glimpse of the types of memories that these early people had. Because I met people that could hear a poem of 30 lines one time and repeat it. I met that personally. I have met people like that. I met a man who memorized the whole Qamus of Imam al-Fairuzabadi. 4 volumes. He memorized it by rote. He could just repeat it to you. When Wal Mayaba went, rahimahullah, the great mujtahid of the Maliki madhhab, went to, somebody charged him to go to Turkey and copy down the dictionary there. When in a certain library, because it was a certified dictionary. When he came back, he asked where the book was. He said, "Bring me a scribe." And the man brought him a scribe, and he dictated the dictionary to him. I mean, where do you get people like that? Now somebody memorized the 40 hadith, and suddenly they're muhaddith. They memorize juz amma, and they're mufassir. Like one of the Imams said, in every library in the Muslim world, in books of fiqh, the first volume always missing, and in tafsir, the last volume. Because we never get past the 5 pillars, and we never get, that's why this people who write a book about prayer, and say, here's how the Prophet prayed, where's the book on zakat? Where's the book on hajj? Where's the book on bay'ah wa shara? Where's the book on nikah? Where's the book on ahkam of this and that? All they can do is one thing. These people nowadays, they're pamphleteers. They just write pamphlets. They don't write books. Where's their books? They're pamphleteers. Now, we shouldn't be followers of pamphleteers, because pamphleteers are demagogues. That's what they are. Like Thomas Paine, give me liberty or give me death. He didn't mean that. He just said it. That's what we. So anyway, I think you get the idea. But for me, in the end of the day, it's about humility. It's about submitting to our Imams. That's what it is. Submitting to the authority of our Imams. And if you can't submit to the authority of the Imams, then you have a problem. You're mutakabbir. And that's a disease of the heart. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "La yajma'u Allahu ummati ala dalala." My ummah will never be gathered on dalala. Now we know this ummah has agreed upon the 4 rightly guided Imams. It's agreed upon it. The people of Sunnah and Jama'ah. And this is what was taught for the last 1200 years. And it's only recently people trying to get rid of these Imams. Now the fall of the Muslims and the decline of the Muslims has nothing to do with madhab. And we should understand that. This idea of blind imitation is what destroyed us. No, it's not that simple. We have very deep reasons. Now the other thing also to remember here is that when you follow an imam, you are not following the opinion of one man. You are following a school that has had literally 1,000 years of the greatest intellects of this ummah looking at it and revising it. Because I didn't go into, you have mujtahid mutlaq, who's an absolute mujtahid. Then you have mujtahid muqayyad, who's an imam, who's usually the students of the imams, who are limited in that they don't go outside of the usul of the imam, but they have a very free hand at fatwa and ijtihad. And then you have mujtahid madhab, who's limited within the madhab confines of the school and follows the majority opinions of the school. And then you have, and he gives fatwa that might go against the imam al-mutlaq or the imam al-muqayyad. And then you have mujtahid murajjah, who is somebody who distinguishes between valid opinions inside the madhab itself. So for instance, in the Maliki madhab, the dominant opinion amongst the ulama of the Maliki madhab is that when you pray, you keep your hands at your side. Now somebody says, there's no dalil for that. But read al-Mudawwana al-Kubra, Imam Sahnun, who took it from Ibn al-Qasim, who took it from Malik. In Bab al-I'timad, he asked Imam Malik radiallahu anhu, what do you say about holding the hands on the chest here during the prayer? He said, لا أعرفه في الفريضة. That's a riwayah sahiha from Imam Malik. And he said, but he can do it in nafila, he can choose it. This is the opinion of many of the Malikis, and it doesn't come from this thing that some people wrote in some book that it was because he got his arms pulled out of his sockets. There's very clear musnad, mursal, muttasil, athar that Sa'id ibn Musayyib prayed with his hands at his side. That the Sahaba in Sahih Bukhari during the winter, they used to clap their thighs from the cold. You know, they have their proofs. Now the rajih, the stronger opinion in the Maliki madhab is that you pray with your hands on your chest. And Imam Malik relates that in the Muwatta. But the Maliki ulama consider both of them valid opinions. Ibn Abd al-Barr, who is called Hafid al-Maghrib, he says in his book Al-Kafi that وَضْعُ يَدَ الْيُمْنَ عَلى الْيُسْرَى أَوْ إِرْسَالُهُمَا كِلَاهُمَا مِنَ السُنَّةِ. Putting the hands here or putting them at the side, both of them are from the sunnah. What's your dalil? My dalil is Ibn Abd al-Barr. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because who am I going to trust if I don't trust the rightly guided ulama of this ummah? I don't have the ability to go through the hadith and do all these things and understand. And if you come to me with a hadith and say, see the hadith, tayyib, I trust that Ibn Abd al-Barr, who memorized 100,000 hadiths with their isnad, he knew the sunnah. And when he said that, he was a man of taqwa and wara'. And I trust that. And I trust Sahnun. And I trust Ibn al-Qasim. And none of the Imams, of the 4 Imams, not one of them say that this is wajib. Not one of them. And now people breaking their arms over these issues. Breaking their arms over these issues. Fighting in masjid about where you put your hands. There's people more concerned about where their feet are than where their heart is. Really, so we should just think about all these things. And also remember the historical context of this ummah, where we are historically. And also the ignorance and the deep arrogance and absence of humility of the Muslims, all of us. We've lost humility, and this is why Allah has abased us in the earth. Because مَنْ تَوَاضَعَ لِلَّهِ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهِ. The one that goes humble and low, Allah raises him up. And the reason we're abased in the earth is because we lost our humility before Allah and before the slaves of Allah. We prance around thinking we're like the Jews, the chosen people. And now we're being treated like the Jews everywhere, being persecuted and oppressed. If you make a claim, watch out. Watch out. Ahmad Zarruq in his Qawa'id says, مَنْ أَدَّعَ رُتْبَةً لَيْسَتْ لَهُ فُضِحَ بِشَوَاهِدِ الْإِمْتِحَانِ. The one who makes a claim that is not his rank, Allah will expose him and humiliate him before creation. وَمَنْ أَدَّعَ رُتْبَةً هِيَ لَهُ نُزِعَ مِنْهَا. And the one who claims a rank that is his, he really has that rank is taken away from him. Is taken away. وَمَنْ أَدَّعَ رُتْبَةً دُونَ رُتْبَتِهِ رُفِعَ إِلَى رُتْبَةٍ أَعْلَى مِنْهَا. And the one who makes a claim lower than his rank is raised to a higher rank. This is the Islam.